Hello, I'm gonna do scary animations and let's jump in to the video. First, I'm gonna do a huge shout out to my cousin, Michaela. She's doing so good. She actually, I forgot what she did, but she did a really good job. So, anyways, let's just jump into the video. Bye! Okay, so this is the animation.
So nightclub had some drinks and danced to Daft Punk's One More Time, as well as other popular music at the time. I wasn't living in this town at the time, so I arranged to stay at Frank's house. We had the fridge stocked with beer for when we got back and planned on getting wasted. We probably left the club at around 1 a.m. and got a taxi to his house. Back at Frank's house, we spent a few hours listening to Led Zeppelin, Nirvana with a bit of Metallica thrown into good measure. My cousin was in a rock band and loved the classics. At around 3 a.m., Frank's bandmate, Jack, called and asked if we could come over and stay. He had been clubbing at a different location and needed somewhere to crash. Frank lived alone in a three-bedroom house, and being a single guy, he hosted a few wild parties over the years. Frank told them no problem. He could come over but explained we were having a quiet night. In other words, not to bring anyone else. Jack came over and seemed super friendly. Being the drummer of the band, he looked exactly like what I expected. Long hair, a Zeppelin t-shirt, and ripped jeans. His behavior changed not long after arriving. He was super animated. And I don't know, just on a different buzz. He seemed drugged on something. And hey, as long as he enjoys himself, who am I to judge? At one stage, he started playing air drums, and it continued without for ages. During one of the air drum solos, I asked him something, and he didn't answer. I kind of nudged him, very lightly, but just to get his attention. Jack went crazy, and started shouting at me, never interrupting when he was playing drums. Drums? Sorry. Did you really think he was playing real ones? Anyway, this pissed me off. I didn't like the aggression. Frank said, well, relax, man. There's no need to shout. Jack replied, no one should interrupt me when I'm in the zone, man. No one. Me and Frank eye-rolled and turned on chatting, drinking, and ignoring him. The atmosphere changed after that, and after a short time, I went to bed. I don't know how long after, but I was awoken from a deep sleep. I heard this breathing sound in my room. Still in a drunken slumber, it took me a few minutes to register that the noise sounded like someone inhaling. Someone was in a bed, with a bunch of my hair in his hand, sniffing it. I froze, then said, what the fuck are you doing? Jack replied, relax. Just smelling the hair. I'm not gonna do anything. Well, adrenaline coursed through me, but I was stuck to the bed with fear, and the room was pitch black. I shouted, Frank! At the top of my voice. And in speedy time, he ran in the room, turned on the light, only to find Jack in my bed, holding a handful of my hair. He said, it's not what it looks like, though. I was only smelling it. I was sleeping facing the door, so I could see Frank. I dared not to look behind me to see Jack, but his voice sounded like that of a child that knows he's done something wrong and is about to get in trouble. Frank lost it, told him to get the fuck downstairs. My cousin apologized and said he did not want to kick him out of the house in the drugged-up state he was in. The door had no lock, so my cousin slept in a chair in front of the bedroom door. Jack actually tried to come in again. I woke the Frank, telling him to get the hell back downstairs. We just had to kick him out of the house.
I did not, I was gonna say those things like that. Scary animations. Once I feel like they're gonna say a swear, I'm just gonna go la like I say when we go somewhere. So, let me just go get them out.
Jack retreated once again. The next day he was gone by the time I woke up. But a few days later, when Frank tracked Jack down, he was told he'd been mixing drugs with alcohol and was embarrassed by his behavior. Even though it's been years since it happened, I still used to the creeps when I think about it. Those sniffing sounds, those deep, slow sounds, still give me goosebumps. The man broke up not long after that, so I never had to meet him again. I was told he was a good guy, so he may have been on drugs that made him super strange. I'm just glad Frank was there, or who knows how I would have gotten him out of my room.
I was 10 at the time this happened. This event still gives me the creeps to this day. I had a friend come over for the night at my house. We ate some snacks, watched a movie on Netflix, and basically were having fun. After a few hours, we got bored and decided to do something different. My friend suggested that we should take 2 of my bikes and go explore the abandoned house nearby, for your understanding. If we would have walked there, we would have made it around 1 hour to the destination. If we would have taken the bikes, we would have made around 10 minutes. So we grabbed the bikes and rode till we reached the road to the house. We left our bikes at the entrance of the road. The house was on the left side of the road, heavily damaged, old and creaky. On the right side of the road, there was what looked like a garage, full of what we thought were tools, no car. I agree with my friend that we should explore the house first, then the garage. I already thought we should go back home. Right when my friend put his hand on the door, I heard a thud in the distance. It was like someone or something in a metallic plate with a pipe or a big branch. I asked my friend, "Did you hear that?" My friend said, "Hear what?" I'll let it pass. I was thinking probably my brain was tricking me. Plus, I was a bit sleepy. The door to the house was old and creaky. I'll never forget the moment my brain processed the smell coming from the house. The smell like rotten eggs, alcohol, and old unused meat. At this point, it was pitch black outside. We were using the flashlights from our phones to see in the dark. It was hard to see. My brain was making images that seemed real, but they were not. The atmosphere in the house was like an ancient place, but at the same time, it felt cursed. We saw a kitchen, living room, a bathroom with a purple mattress that covered the entrance of the room, and some stairs that were probably leading to the basement. Not even a candle was
Don't
inside.
go down to the
The
basement.
smell was coming from the kitchen, but also from upstairs. A hallway separated the living room and the kitchen. It was straight and as long as the ground floor. Firstly, we checked the living room because it was nearest us. It was almost connected to the kitchen. We pointed our flashlights at the floor, and it was covered by a purple carpet with small black dots on it. There wasn't really anything special in the living room except for a lamp. It had a note on it that said, "I'll be back soon. Prepare the sauce." It's a smiley face at the end. The paper looked old, but the ink was fresh. Somehow, we didn't give it much attention. Big mistake. We went to the kitchen, opened the cupboards, and saw food. Bread, some salad, tomatoes, some kind of meat, what we thought to be steak. It was bloody. The food seemed fresh, but the smell that got to us was mostly coming from the steak. We weren't that scared before, but the chills sneaked into us. I told my friend that we should return home, but he was a jackass and wanted to continue. Although I didn't want to explore anymore,
Beep.
I didn't have a problem with that, but 2 particular things made me want to go home. The idea of a crazy and dangerous homeless person that could have lived in there, in the basement. The walls from the start of the basement stairs were made out of concrete and nothing else. My friend was walking toward the basement. I grabbed him by his arm and told him I don't want to go down there. After 1 minute, I convinced him that we don't need to explore that part of the house, and we moved on. Behind the purple mattress in the bathroom, there were clothes thrown everywhere. Pants, shirts, hoodies. But the weirdest thing was a bathtub. A mannequin with green dyed hair. I told my friend that we should get the fuck out of here. That's when we heard a scream from outside. A scream that was coming from a man. We both ran to a window to see what was going on, and what I saw marked me for life. Outside was a person with a clown mask that was dragging a dead body with him. He He was heading for a garage. We both whispered to each other. What should we do? I don't know. I think there were two of them. The other one must be in the garage. As we were talking, the man in the clown mask turned on the lights in the garage. At that point, we could have died of fear. What we saw as tools were actually tools for dismantling the human body. The clown picked up the tool and began to scoop the man's parts out. I almost puked. We called the police thinking no one can hear us. They said to stay hidden until they're...
Okay, how do I do this? Okay, fine. Okay, so...
Right. We ran upstairs with no idea what was waiting for us there. Upstairs, there were 4 rooms, a bathroom and 3 bedrooms. We went into the first one that had a window. After minutes felt like hours, we heard the sirens of the police cars. I was so relieved when something happened. We heard a cracking voice saying, "Come out, come out. I have many toys you can play with." After that, we heard the door opening. Not from our room, from one of the other 3. My friend tried to open the window quietly, but after one small move, he gave up because it was creepy. At that moment, the guy was knocking on the door. We heard the police say, "Put your hands in the air." Then an officer kicked down the front door. At the same time, the guy from our door started to scratch the door with something sharp. Then he broke into the room. I had no choice but to try to jump through the old window, which I did. I couldn't feel the pain because of the fear. I landed in some bushes, then started to run towards the police cars. Then I heard someone running in the back. I looked, and it was the clown that dragged the body. He was faster than me. But the police officer saw him and shot him in his right hand. Then I saw the other clown walking out of the house, tough, and with another officer behind him. I was worried sick for my friend. Then my friend walked out of the house with another officer. I was so glad we didn't get harmed. The cuffed clown was sent to prison and got a life sentence for serial murders, selling illegal things, stealing goods from people and breaking into houses. And yes, the steak we saw was human flesh. I never visited any abandoned house since.